Yeah, it's 6:30, so let's call to order the
I don't know how they drive with you.
meeting of the Rutland Planning Board.
It's not a plane, it's a car.
First order of business, minutes of January 14th.
I think they got rid of wings on those old cars, the old fifties cars. It'd be-
Lots and lots of discussions.
It's such a nice car, you know, such a pretty car. Coming out of the Challenger, 1,000 horsepower. Doesn't even make sense.
How could you drive it on the road?
1,000 horsepower. That's before the guys with the computer technology, they got it up to about 1,200.
I can't vote on this one, so I'm out.
Doesn't mean it's-
Motion to accept the meeting minutes. I don't think you can, cause you don't have a quorum.
Yeah, you did, 3 out of
Cutting
5.
down of a telephone.
How do you got 3?
I was absent.
Oh, so no, you don't have, you don't have a quorum for that one, so you can't do January 14th.
Okay, can't do, table that. And then we have the minutes of January 28th.
Do that.
So if you guys can't do January 14th now, you can't do January 14th till Dick gets back.
Correct.
So,
Interesting.
For that part,
January
he's
28th.
still in the battle zone over the easement.
Well, the approval of minutes count for the Mulligan,
Easement?
or whatever it's
Mulligan?
called. The Mullins rule, I'm sorry.
I don't think so, but
Yeah,
it's
I don't
only
think
for
so
public
either,
hearings,
but-
yeah, it's only for public hearings.
They require.
They should call it the Mulligan Rule.
That's what I thought it was, to be honest with you, for a while.
Agreement.
I didn't have anything with the 28th.
Easement on for them to.
Do I have a motion?
It's all the stupidest thing.
Motion to accept minutes as presented for January
Whatever
28th,
reason,
2025.
that one neighbor
I'll second.
I don't want it January, I want it here. They just moved it, and it's like, right,
All in favor?
it's like, why would
Aye.
you put it here? It was there for 50 years.
Okay.
Oh, you understand?
Item 2,
There's nothing.
discussion of
Put it back. You can move it.
Lemon Estates. And field changes.
I'm sorry, Bryce Estates?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Kevin sent me a letter, which I promptly left in the middle of my desk before I walked out of my office tonight. Oh, you are the best. So,
Here's your response too, if you want that.
perfect. So, we, when we filed for our DCR variance for that crossing, because the other two crossings didn't involve the DCR. They were just DEP 401 water quality certs and regular Concom, which ended up at the time being a superseding order of conditions. So what happened was the permit that I had from DEP, the 401 water quality cert, I went to start building the crossing, and Judy called me from the DEP and said, your 401 water quality cert's expired. So I read it. I don't know if I remember, you guys remember, I think I said it at one of the meetings. So I read the water quality cert. Nowhere in it does it say it expires. Like a DCR variance, when they record that, it's for good. It doesn't come off, right? So anyways, when I was talking to Judy, she said, well, it's tied to the construction general permit, which is a federal permit. How the hell would I know that? How the hell would anybody know that, right? But she said people who got permits like 2 months ago, the construction general permit, when that changed, everybody's permit had to be redone. They were redoing 401 water quality certs all over the place. So anyways, I refiled, and I filed to get a certificate of compliance for the phases that were finished under the DEP superseding order of conditions. Because I wanted to get rid of that. and go back to having the Rutland Concom take care of it, which is, they approved it to begin with, but there were 10 citizens that appealed it. I don't know if you remember all this, Norm, but you were a part of it.
God, I don't even remember that.
So the 10 citizens that appealed it, I ended up with the DEP. That's how I got a superseding order of conditions. Anyways, we got a certificate of compliance on certain portions of the site from the DEP for the superseding order. And we got a new order of conditions from the Concom. Now, until I got those, I couldn't start the crossing. I wanted to start the thing in June. I ended up in September. And yeah, look, I'm working on it now in sub-zero weather. It's taken 3 times as long. It's driving me crazy. But anyways, when I got my DEP DCR variance, Mike, what was his name? Who was the director back then?
Bill Poole?
Bill Pooler, I'm sorry, Bill Pooler. Bill Pooler called me up and said, listen, we're gonna deny you. Because we want you to, instead of be 14 feet, we want you to be 18 feet. So I said, okay. I agreed to 18 feet. They gave me the variance. Well, I got a 401 water quality cert for 14 foot. So when I reapplied for it, I reapplied not knowing. I used the old plans. I got a 14 foot all over again. So now they stopped me again because it was 18 feet. I said, it's better. Well, wait a minute, no, you needed to tell us that. Well, okay, I forgot. I mean, it's been, what, 10 years since I mean, anyways. So we went through a big rigmarole and everybody finally approved everything. In the meantime, way back, Mary L. Stone told me after we had our site walk that there was a Zone A there. So we had it, Julian, I remember a few years ago, came in with a bunch of A&R lots. We had to change the drainage because we had to eliminate a detention pond that was on phase 4 and have everything go to phase 1.
Yes.
Well, now, in order to get the drainage over there, we had to put a 30-inch pipe on top of that arch. So the redesign, it put Julian over the edge with the redesign of it. But everything, I don't know what Kevin's talking about, everything was approved before I started. So he's just, I think he wasn't in the loop on it, which the
Cal was
town,
doing everything.
right, the town was in the loop though, way back. So I've done everything above board. I haven't done anything not above board, but they're telling him one thing, and I showed you the 401 water quality cert, I sent it to you, I got a new one. So, and everything's been approved, and so, I mean, I'm kind of at a loss from where Kevin's coming from. I will tell you that I've got structural engineers there for the wall, I got structural engineers there for the crossing itself, and I've got a structural engineer certificate before I even started to do it. So, I mean, I can't see where I've done anything wrong, but I guess Kevin wanted me to come.
Yeah, cause Norm, through you, if I remember that, and again, this is the Wayback Machine. All of those were, brick / concrete / buildable concrete. And when I was reading that, they were talking that the crossing's now an aluminum crossing, which is smaller than the original one. So the plans had changed.
It's bigger, number one,
Okay,
and all of them are aluminum in the whole site.
and I'm struggling.
But
Yeah, it went from, I don't know what they're talking about.
Me either.
It went from a box culvert, not to touch the body of water that's going through this is, no exaggeration, as wide as this piece of paper.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a 15-foot.
18 foot.
18-foot across the bottom to protect this.
Yeah.
So there was nothing, and it was concrete. Now it's a,
You know why we
Arch.
couldn't do the concrete? Have you seen it? You guys been out to see it?
No.
I have a picture.
It's on a pitch like that. I mean,
Yep.
you're in construction, right? Try to put an arch or concrete
yeah,
pieces and make them work on that much of a pitch.
know
I mean,
what
it's a
they're
slope
talking
like
about.
that.
And they watched every minute of this thing. We were out there every minute that was being done.
I don't know.
Only thing I want is the i's dotted, t's crossed. John, have you looked at, or has Kevin given any comments back on our plan from Bryce Lemon for the crossings?
No, he just basically, that email, he was supposed to
email.
be here tonight,
Okay.
but, you know,
That's the only thing I haven't looked at the plans. I
Tim.
just wanted to make sure.
so what I wanna say is, basically, you know, the planning board uses Quinn Engineering as your engineering peer review. So basically, without Kevin Quinn being here, basically, he needs to be happy with this. So, you know, we could sit here and say, oh, we're struggling with this, but without Kevin here, and, you know, all I know is the email we got, you know, so, you know, it's same thing goes for roadway acceptance or whatever. The board wants a clean letter from Quinn Engineering, so if this is something where Quinn needs something, then Quinn needs something, that's.
I gave him everything he was looking for, and I mean, what he got was bad information. I mean, I'm telling you right now, because he said we didn't have the 401 water quality cert. The DCR variance never expires. I mean, it's recorded at the registry of deeds. So it's a variance. It's not like it's
Right,
different.
and I would say that pretty much, I know I can't speak on that. That's not my area. Again, that's why we have Quinn Engineering, so whatever needs to be worked out, Cleve, between you and Quinn,
Here's what Kevin told me.
I can
He
stand
told me to dial me in
right there.
to all.
My head doesn't touch the top of that. It's crazy what this thing is.
Okay.
So, just some semantics, I guess, to talk to Quinn, to get Kevin just to compare the two together. right?
Yeah, cause from my perspective, from the planning board, all I wanna do is what's on the drawings to match what's getting built.
It is.
And that way, the structural engineer, when we get the reports, they all match.
Yep.
We don't have a copy of the plan with the changes, do we?
Oh, yeah.
We do?
I don't,
I believe
Norm, I don't know,
Absolutely.
without Kevin here, we're getting half the information, so.
I don't.
I invited, Kevin said he was gonna be here tonight, I don't know why.
I sent that all off.
Let me see if I
So I'm
can.
trying, it's from contact.
So to clarify, just for me, and I know obviously we have to have Kevin Quinn comment, so the DCR DEP, I mean, he names names, he said he had a conversation with them. They say that these things have expired, I mean, DEP does expire after 3 years, unless you file a start.
Not a 401 water quality cert, a superseding order. Yes.
So, but, you're right, so what I'm saying is you represent, I'm sorry, not you represented, but, you had mentioned the, superseding order of conditions because of the appeal process, so you got that permit. That's a 3-year permit unless, and if you don't start, once you start, you can
You can
continue to file
extend it.
extensions.
Right.
So those extensions were filed, is what you're saying, with the plan change?
Actually, no, what I did was I got a certificate of compliance for that, and I got a new.
Crossing,
Nope, for phase 1 and phase 2, because
Okay.
those are complete and they're accepted by the town. So phase 3 and 4 and 5 are gonna be under a new order of conditions from the Concom in Rutland. So the superseding order, I got a certificate of compliance, and I got a new order of conditions from the Concom.
did the Conservation Commission permit of 3 years, did it lapse on those other crossings?
I
and
just got it
phases?
in September.
Okay,
Yeah, so no.
so,
But to answer your question, the superseding order did. So it worked out good.
but, yeah, but the superseding order wasn't for the site in its entirety, it was for a specific phase, and it called that out in the permit.
No, it was for the site in its entirety.
Okay.
So what
that's-
happened was,
there's the
I got
crux.
2 of them. I got a certificate of compliance on those 2, because I didn't have to file for them again.
I got you.
And I got the other 3 from the Concom.
And this is where Clea was having John trouble, you got the letter. It's his second paragraph. In December, the contractor began construction of the wetland crossing number 3, installing an aluminum arch, which Julian showed me, culvert. The approved plans that I have and the plans that the DCR and the DEP all call for a 3-wall concrete box culvert, not arch. DCR issued a notice of non-compliance on December 17th. That's where Clea was having my crux with, because I's dotted, T's crossed, so if we didn't have an update.
Hold on, I just got a text from Tamika.
Hang on.
Concom hasn't signed off on these changes and are still working with Kevin, DEP, and DCR. They have to amend the permit, and we haven't received the application yet. That's from D'Amico. So,
Alright, well, mine is, I just need to talk, and again, Kevin's not here, so I don't wanna go into any details without asking him questions, but I'm only reading what his email says, his DCR and DEP didn't have the updated plan change to the aluminum culvert. So that's where clearly I was struggling and I needed questions, but if he's not here, I can't ask him.
Well, I can answer them. Here, so the non-compliance was because when they measured the 18-foot arch, because of the 30-inch pipe that had to go over top of it, two ends of it are buried in the ground. So it only measures 17 feet across. The big thing about those arches is the openness ratio.
Yeah.
And that's what they're asking for at the for the Concom and the DEP. Now, I believe that Chris Lucas has provided them with that. I'm not positive, but he said he was working on that and there was no problem with the openness ratio. So in the next paragraph, the notice of non-compliance, he said, I spoke with Alan Rantala of DCR and Rebecca Gendro, Becky, of DEP. Permits with both agencies have expired and must be refiled and reapproved. That's not correct. I
Okay.
got that done. The DCR, the applicant must apply for a new variance. I got a variance
Okay.
from them. I sent it to you.
And
So
they inspected from the day you.
They've been out
from the
there.
day they put the hay
They've
bales
never-
up, they were
they've never stopped
there.
me.
Both DCR and DEP have been there, watching over this.
the whole thing. So I don't
Doesn't make
know,
any
I don't know
sense
where
to me
Kevin
that-
got in his, I talked, and I called Kevin when I got that.
And then down in the fifth paragraph, this is the other thing that threw me for a loop. It says Lucas Environmental has issued a letter to the DEP on behalf of the applicant in December proposing the arch culvert. There's some questions as to the actual field dimensions, and I think that you were talking about between the 17 and 18 feet, which appear to differ from those shown on the plans. It is understood that Lucas Environmental is addressing the culvert dimensions. Again, I'm with John, I can't go any farther without Quinn being here to ask Kevin questions, cause I'm at a loss, cause I'm guessing, and I don't wanna guess.
So I'll have to
I'm
follow
gonna
with
back
Kevin.
out.
I'll have to follow
I'm
with
taking
Kevin.
everything you said, and then we need to talk, we need to
I'll
get
have to
Kevin
follow
here.
with Kevin, yeah.
I tried calling him today and I got his voicemail, so,
I don't know, I wanna have a set of those plans in front of me,
yeah.
the updated plans.
I'll get them, I know I sent them, but I'll send them again.
I haven't received any update plans on this project in the time that I've been here, so I don't know.
We've gotta have a PDF somewhere of these that all of us could get. And I get, at the meeting, we need the hard copy here, but I like the PDF to look over, so I guess I will Clea, if you've got a PDF set of those, I wouldn't mind if you, of the Bryce Lemon,
The whole set? Or just the crossing?
This area.
I'm just, the crossing is all I'm cared about right
You
now.
want the plans, the design plans from Contech? Cause
I'm looking for the plans that the planning board signed off on. Which would have been 4 or 5 years ago.
The
yeah,
recorded
Well,
version.
we have that.
Yeah.
But if there have been changes made since, I might.
Well, I don't want the changes, cause
Okay.
those haven't come through the board yet, I'm just
Okay.
looking, so you've got, John, you've got. the-
Probably, yeah, I'd have to look.
Alright,
Well, and they'd be on
Skip
record
that.
anyways.
Yes.
So.
you really, the crossings aren't really designed as part of the planning board.
I know, that's,
They're designed.
That was a miss.
After the approval, that when you go to the, if you have a wetland crossing, it's through the, if it's a DCR wetland, or if it's DCR stream, whatever it is, they have to give you a variance, you have to apply to them, and you have to present them with what you're gonna do for the crossing. That's where the box culvert with the concrete came. So DEP approved the 14-footer one, but then the DCR denied me, so like I said, I ended up agreeing to an 18-foot wide arch. And
I'm guessing that never got any updated plans.
no, because I just agreed to the size, I didn't design it yet.
Okay.
So, it was, and the one that did get approved, I had designed with the DEP. And at the time, the DEP didn't care, cause I was making it bigger.
Yeah.
Alright, so I think we're gonna have to have a discussion at the next meeting as well, and have Kevin, and make sure
Kevin's gotta
Kevin's
be-
here.
yeah.
He's gotta be here, cause we're only getting half of the information.
One of my questions to Kevin would be, can we get a letter of understanding of the DCR and DEP positions on where the status of this project is?
Okay.
So that we can have something in writing from the DCR and DEP on their specific take on the situation.
Yeah, cause I'm with Britton.
That will help clarify, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, no.
Yeah, that'll help clarify, and then Kevin can present that information. But it's in writing, it's for everyone to review, read it.
Cause this is what we've been dealing with in this town, is
Yeah.
he said, she
Right,
said.
and I don't wanna do
Yeah.
that, it's a big deal, so we need something.
In writing.
We need something in writing from either whatever representative is issuing the stop work order or the, non-compliance. We would like a letter of understanding.
Okay.
Nobody gave us any stop work order over it. They've
I'm
been
just,
there
I'm
every-
reading Kevin, not a stop work order, but
Notice of
notice, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Notice of non-compliance, you're right.
I can send that to you. They did give me that.
Well, understanding that, that's great, but I would like also a letter of understanding of where their position is at this time, given that project. And that's not a big ask, it's not, it's nothing crazy, so.
Yeah, John, I was gonna go, that's that third paragraph is where I'm struggling. I spoke with Alan and Becky, and there's not details with it, so
Right.
I gotta see, anyhow, good enough.
But
Well,
you saw the new DEP water quality, sir. You saw the new 401? I sent it to you. You
yeah,
already gave me a
it says that
401.
they issued a 401 for this project, now expired, so.
That's not true. They
That's
issued
why
a
we
new
need,
one.
that's why we need to understand that.
Yeah, that's why we need something in writing, cause
Yeah.
they're saying one thing, Clee's saying something else, and it's
That's
just.
that
there's-
second one that you sent, that I read here. Yeah, you said you send the 401. I need Kevin.
Yeah.
Really, I gotta get it understanding, cause I'm struggling, this is,
Yeah.
I can deal with an arch and a culvert and concrete and aluminum, but when it gets outside of that, I
Well,
gotta
you're
have
talking
Kevin.
about state permits too.
Yeah, that's the other thing, that's out of my,
It's a wicked pain in the ass.
yeah,
Those state permits.
There's so many chiefs.
yeah.
So, we'll put
All right.
this on the agenda for the 25th.
I think we need to, this
And I'll-
wasn't a
I'll send
hearing, this
any-
was just a
No, just
discussion.
discussion, so.
Need to add it as a point for the
Yep.
What would
25th.
you like from me in the meantime? Norm, you said you wanted some plans or something?
Yeah, I would like to see, well, guess who's here?
Oh, okay, all right.
There he is.
Good timing.
Usually get that kind of greeting most places I go.
Yeah. And on his birthday, he shows up too.
I'm used to ducking tomatoes usually.
Well, it won't be eggs, cause they're too expensive now.
Rocks, yeah.
Rocks, Kevin.
Well, what I'm saying is now, on the original plans, or the plans, I'm assuming the plans that we have, there is a detail page showing the concrete box culvert.
Yeah,
culvert.
that's 14
It says
feet.
or equal.
Okay, what I wanna see is a replacement page showing the aluminum culvert.
I wanna see if it says or equal.
All right, so Kevin's here, so let's get his side of things with this issue.
Okay, target practice.
I don't have any objection to a change in a culvert like that. I don't think it's a substantive change, but I certainly, one of the concerns we have is keeping a current set of plans. We've got plans right now that have got a lot of things, tweaks here and there in them, and we're trying to keep track of that. But I'm concerned about that, and obviously, I think anytime you make a change like that, it should go through the board.
Right.
The board would certainly wanna get DPW's intake on it. DPW's gonna be
They're gonna be managing
owning
that
and
end.
operating
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah.
So you certainly want DPW to weigh in on that.
So I think we need to back up though, because Clea had some concerns about about the communication here and about
Letter.
what needs to be done, so I think
I need to
we're,
ask you some questions.
yeah, so Clea, what, stuff you were saying before to the board, Kevin can address that right now, I think.
Well, Kevin got information that I needed to file for new permits and things like that. I've, first of all, the DEP variance never expires. It's on record, it's a variance, so that stays, number one. Number two, I sent the new 401 water quality cert to you. I got it, it's fine. They're out there inspecting as I build. I don't know, I don't
My
understand where they're
information,
coming from.
I reached out to DCR and to DEP. DEP, for whatever reason, the woman that I spoke to told me in no uncertain terms, they're anticipating receiving an amended application for that. She did not, she told me they don't have it, and she said at some point they'll probably issue an enforcement order. Clea sent me the water quality certification, so apparently that's, she either, someone there missed it, but my report to you was based on what they told me. DCR definitely needs to have an updated, variance filed, and I guess you guys are working on that now with that.
No, we had a certificate of non-compliance from them. What happened was, it's supposed to be 18 feet at the bottom.
Yeah,
We had to put a 30-inch pipe over the top of it, okay, to convey some drainage. And so it ended up going into the ground, and it made it 17 feet. And I know when we talked to Alan, he didn't think it was a big deal.
no, it isn't.
It's just-
They don't feel it's a big deal.
It's not a big deal, so it's not, I don't have to file for a new permit or anything like that. They just need the openness ratio, and they wanna make sure that it's correct. I don't know, what is it, about like bugs have to crawl through there or something? Who gives a shit about?
Like I said, I can
It's
stand,
the craziest,
I can
stupidest thing.
stand at the arch. I'm 6'1", and my head doesn't touch the
It's
top.
crazy.
So I don't know if they want the deer to run at full speed.
It doesn't matter what their logic is,
They get
it's
through
a
that.
standard, it's a formula, and you have to comply with the formula, and these fellows have to do that. And
We do.
There'll probably be an update, there'll be some different replication, there'll be additional replication, DEP was concerned because these fellows had to run a line through the middle to convey the stream water through the culvert during construction.
Oh my God.
Stands to reason you need that, but they felt that was a temporary alteration of the stream flow, and they wanted that covered in their permitting. That's their privilege, I don't, that's.
Well, I had a discussion with, I'll step in on this one, cause I was there when that came about. And I asked them, the stream was not touched. They had hay bales on both sides protecting that. It was only this wide.
No,
It's dry.
Yeah.
It was dry, and it's dry all the way until probably April.
right.
And we were getting some forecasts of some heavy rain coming. And I told them, you better protect that stream bed. If water comes down, if it does, some of the thaw comes out. If water does start going down there and doesn't go down that channel between those hay bales and veers off, you're gonna have a nightmare downstream. Absolute nightmare. It's all gonna be down that Thayer Pond. So put a 12-inch
Yeah, just
culvert,
convey the flow through there.
just to let
That's
that
fine.
clean water in and clean water out, and they lost their minds. Why are you doing this?
They didn't, I didn't, who I spoke to said, there's nothing wrong with doing that, they just want it on paper. They want the permit to reflect that, and that's their.
You know, that was during that day with the thaw and the weather conditions, let's make it, it's an emergency, let's make this happen now so we don't
I don't
have
think
to-
anybody was objecting, it wasn't a matter of
So-
objection, it was just a matter of,
They wanted to know.
yeah.
Oh.
that's all.
And.
So now it's all secure, so that's a good thing.
So, Kevin, this is where I'm at. I'm flying at 30,000 feet, not in the weeds. I believe we've had enough changes to these drawings that, as red lines go, as I call them, it's time to get in front of the board and say, hey, are we good with all these? That's what I wanna get at. If we've got, if we need to say if it's a minor or major change, if I'm not mistaken. That's what typically we do with the subdivisions. If it's minor,
Correct.
it's just a red line markup. If it's major, then we gotta discuss it.
But Tim, I think when I spoke to Kevin about this email, his recommendation was that we wait until Clee's done with all the DCR and DEP stuff.
Get it squared away with
Get it
them.
squared away and then come,
Right now,
come before the board.
They could still say, no, we want this, and they still wanna resolve the.
Okay.
Replication and some of these other questions. I would suggest waiting till that settles down, and then you can formally, the board.
Kevin, I gotta ask you, if the old drawings that were approved by the board were a boxed three-wall
Three-wall
concrete
box culvert. Yes.
culvert, box culvert, and what's being installed is an arch, how are we gonna, as a board, gonna justify that if we have no plans that even showing that design? I feel we've got, excuse my language, we got our butt out in the breeze right now.
Yep.
And that's where I'm struggling.
Clea forwarded me the plans.
Yep.
For the actual culvert, I have
Yep.
those plans. I mean, it's a dimensional thing from my standpoint, I'm not a structural engineer, I don't do a
Yep.
structural review. Contact will certify, and they are stamped
DOT
plans.
standards.
So they've been stamped by a structural engineer.
Yep, I'm good with that, as long as it's a P stamp, I'm good, and it's
I
structural.
think the bigger question would be, does DPW, is it satisfactory to them?
And that was where I was moving with this. Once we get those plans in, if that's what's gonna be installed and that's what's in front of the DCR and the DEP, we need to internally get that in front of Chris. And say, Chris, do you have any comments?
Right.
That's what I really gotta do, because I don't think the board might have some procedural comments, but from maintenance, we're not maintaining it. So I think we need to get those plans, Kevin, to Norm or John, and then get that circulated internally. That's my opinion.
Do you have them, John?
Can you resend them, cause I don't think you,
I copied you,
I-
Don.
I'll send them to you.
yeah,
I'll send
thank you.
Okay,
That's the only thing I wanna do, is get him in front of Chris.
Yeah.
Norm and John, is cause I need him to buy into this, cause remember with the bridge at Bear Hill, how much that was back and forth with Gary. I don't want this to happen again. I like to get this blessed off, and then it's our decision.
Okay, so I think that's where we stand now is, Kevin, if you can get me those plans, I can get them to DPW.
Yep.
And then we just kinda wait for Clea to square things away with DCR and DEP.
Kevin,
Yeah, yeah.
quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry, through the chair. I don't think we formally met, I'm Britton. What can we expect from DCR and DEP saying, this is all, we've reviewed these plans, we're all set with this, we're good? Can we get an official notification?
Sure.
In
Yeah,
writing from them?
I would look for that. I think,
Okay.
my plan right now is to make contact with, the DEP, person who's handling it,
Becky.
Becky Gendro. And I know, Alan Randall from DCR is working on that, but they will issue something, a formal, I guess, it's gonna be a modified variance?
No, he's just, what he's saying is.
Well, something in writing.
It doesn't matter what it is,
I
just
just want
something.
You just
something,
gotta-
DCR letterhead,
Yep,
this is who's representing, we're good.
yep.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
From DCR and DEP,
Yep.
and then we're good.
Yeah,
And we can
he
go
did
from
say
there,
that-
then we present to Chris, he looks at it. And we go from there.
Yeah, so I'll get the plans from Kevin, get those to Chris, make sure he's okay for now, and then we just wait for things to be squared away between Clea and the state, and then the board can officially approve the changes.
I would really appreciate to have something in writing though from those two entities.
When will?
Even an email or
But
something
hold on,
from-
but that wouldn't come right now, correct?
Well, the only question I have would be whether Becky Gendro feels that the water quality certification was issued is valid to include this work.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, if you could get that from them?
Yep.
So,
Cause my reservation would be for us to internally review and approve any plan that wasn't, or is in contradiction to what DCR and DEP have and or are willing to sign off on. That would be problematic. I don't wanna approve that until I know that what's been presented to them with the water crossing in their jurisdiction,
Absolutely.
they're good with.
Yes, yeah, that's
That's
my
how I feel
position,
about
so,
it, yeah.
yeah.
And then I don't know that we have jurisdiction, but I know part of our subdivision regs is all, what's the word I'm looking for, permits are in order.
Yeah.
So I guess, Kevin, what I was looking at is Tamika had sent a text to John that the Concom's still in the middle of getting new
Yes.
orders.
Conservation will also, the conservation will
Yeah,
also
so I wouldn't
update
want
the-
us to move forward until we got that too, cause that's a permit or our orders of,
Orders and conditions.
yeah, that everything's good to go.
if I may, just add a quick thing. What they're looking for me to do is to make the replication area bigger. So, but we haven't been able to get out there to shoot it because it keeps getting covered in snow. So
Okay.
I keeps having Julian asking him to go out, but every time, and then Chris Lucas sent something to the DEP, the DCI the other day saying, I can't go out there till the snow cover's gone. You're probably gonna be till spring, but they don't have any problem with me I mean, they know I'm building the crossing. I mean, they stopped me for 4 months and then they let me go. So I mean, why would they let me go if they stopped me for all that time? And then, cause I remember when Alan he said, Clea, we approved an 18-foot wide. It is 18 feet, Alan. Not on the plans, it's 14 feet. And that's when Becky said, I didn't approve an 18-foot, I approved the 14-foot. I said, well, it's bigger, why wouldn't it be better? I mean, Jesus Christ. So anyways, the way they're gonna solve the whole thing is we're gonna add some replication, and everybody hopefully is gonna be happy.
It's all paperwork at this point.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, because they're letting us build it. We don't have any stop work orders or anything like that, there's no issue with that.
Yes.
And they're out there every day,
Yes.
or every week, whatever, checking it out.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't have to put this on for the 25th, I think we're good?
I don't
Since
mind
Kevin-
coming back
since-
if you need me to.
No, I mean, Kevin ended up coming in, so.
It's, are we gonna have all of this stuff that we need by?
You know what,
You won't.
No, from what Kevin was telling me in a previous conversation, this isn't gonna be settled in the next couple weeks. So this is gonna take probably a couple months, yeah, so, yeah.
And really, once DCR and DEP get squared away, the conservation will act, and I think my belief is that conservation will probably wanna operate the same way the planning board is. Let those two state jurisdictions get themselves squared away, and then
Okay.
they can implement that into their order conditions.
Yeah.
so Kevin, we shouldn't do anything with plans or anything until we let the DCR and
No.
DEP
Yeah,
get
I would
squared
stand
away.
by.
Nope.
Okay, perfect, that's all I need to hear.
We're good.
Yep,
Okay.
alright, good enough.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. You got any other questions for me before I go? Any other sites?
Nope.
You happy with the guardrails?
Nope.
Boy, that really tightened up the road, didn't it?
Those, hold on a
They're
second.
right on the money.
You asked me a question, so now I get to answer.
Oh, good,
Are those DOT approved?
absolutely.
That's all I wanted to hear, cause I looked at them, I'm going like, that's a 4x4 or 6x6 with a piece of 2x8 or 2x10 on
That's
it.
actual guardrail stock.
Yeah,
What is?
it has to
Actually,
be
that's what
treated.
the state uses when they use.
Alright, I wanted to ask it, cause I drove by it, I'm
Each
going
one
like.
of those
I could-
timbers, you can barely, a human can barely lift up one of them, cause it's treated with a
Cause
different.
I said something to Norm, going like, I drove by it and it looked like somebody went there with a gun and basically put them up like you were doing framing. But again, I don't know the material, so.
So it has to slow you
They are bigger
down.
than 2x6.
They're not there to stop you, they're
Okay.
there to slow you down.
Alright, as long as they're DOT approved, I don't care.
They are.
Okay, that's all I needed.
And they're even treated for salt. How about that corrosion?
Wonderful.
Excellent, well, they're up on all places, so
Other
I'm
than
good.
that, you're good with me.
Yeah, that was it, just this discussion on
Okay,
this.
I just wanted to make sure before I went. Thank you, guys. Nice to see you again.
Thanks, Lee.
Yeah. Hey, Jules,
See ya.
and whoever you are over there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, before we go on the next topic, what do you, I'm sorry, name right,
Alex,
Alex?
just observing,
Okay.
thinking about getting involved, but I wanted to check it out.
Okay, great. I thought you might have been the person that put the paperwork in, that's the reason I asked.
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
I don't know how I heard there weren't that many people, so the answer's probably yes.
Yeah, you're the first one to come forward.
yes.
There you go.
And this is for you were looking to.
Associate.
Associate?
Yep.
Excellent.
go.
Excellent. Alright,
You
good.
sure?
For now. Just kidding. For now.
Okay, next item, we have a public hearing on a petition of Woodring Property Management LLC for a two-lot common driveway at 377 East County Road.
Do you wanna waive the reading of the hearing notice?
Yeah, I'll accept the motion to waive the reading of the notice.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So in the control room, could you please pull up the plans on the thumb drive, please? Awesome, thank you.
Norm, John, that was it for Kevin? Do we have anything else for Kevin?
No, that's it. Thank you, Kevin.
Lord.
Nice to see you all.
Nothing? Thanks, okay.
It's okay.
Smoke if you got him and,
Can I go with him?
yeah. And before you leave, Kevin, before we jump into this, do you have a PDF, latest and greatest set of these drawings? You don't either.
What's gonna happen is, I'll tell you what's gonna happen. These are the plans right here.
And those are dated like what, 20, 21?
Yeah, they're.
We've been rolling around in a pickup for 10 years.
But these are precious to us, because every time we make a change, we tape it in here, we've kept pretty close records.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this to a print shop and get them to scan it, so we have, like I said, a PDF, cause
Yeah.
this, as far as I can tell, is the
That's the only
one
red
that's-
line set you got then?
Yeah,
Oh, man,
Wow.
that's scary as heck to me right now.
So if my truck crashes on the way home, rolls over, catches on fire.
The the good thing is, there's only one piece left. to really put
Yeah, I know, but there's all the stuff in between that we've
Well,
made
that's
changes
all
to
pretty-
in
Yeah.
phase 1 and 2, that, we accept the road, but the road doesn't take into acceptance all the other stuff that's been
Yes,
done.
and there's a lot of different, different consultants who, I don't know if somebody has kept at Blair's organization has kept a complete set of,
Cause Lucas didn't start out as the, structural engineer, I know that for a fact, it was
No,
another
he's the
gentleman.
he's the environmental guy, yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna get this copy, and I'll get that to you on a PDF.
that's the big guy you need to get it to is John.
Okay, all right. Good night, thank you.
All right, thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
And, happy birthday, it's 58 or 57?
Thank you, oh yeah, in my dreams. Thank you.
See ya.
Okay,
Okay, sorry for interrupting.
There's a piece of property that, this shaded in area, that's an existing driveway as exists right now. There used to be a couple of houses, couple buildings, I don't know what they were, there's still one outbuilding left, but there was a house and a trailer and there was a bunch of stuff here over the years. And last meeting we came and we did a Form A to subdivide this into 2 lots. And we're gonna utilize this existing driveway, which happens to be 16 feet wide, existing, with brand new power lines. I don't know why they did that during the ice storm. So we utilized that to service both these duplexes. And we met the rules, cause we could only go 500 feet on the common path before it splits. So that's why it's split right here to go to this building, this one's to this building. And it's one driveway servicing 2 lots, is what that is,
Judy,
under
can I
your
ask-
rules.
That second lot, that was the trouble, having trouble finding the lot lines for that. It was there, yep,
It goes like this,
yep, help
like
me out.
this, like this, like this, like that.
This was the A and R that the
This
board
is-
approved.
This is
Yeah,
the A and R we
yeah,
just did a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so it's got that thin space that flag sort of goes between the 2 lots.
Goes, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's such a funky shape is because of the regulations with the DCR. And when you're in their zone, that's what this line is.
Yeah,
When you're in their zone, you have to have so many square feet of regulated land to do a certain activity. So we need to grab this, ideally it would have been just bring this line straight like this, so we got all the land we needed.
yeah.
But because it's in that 400-foot zone, we needed to grab more regulated land to meet
Okay.
their rule. It's just one of those things, and this lot has all this land, so it's got way over than what it needs.
And I apologize, that second one, that's acres, it's like 4 or 5 acres, that second duplex? Give me a
This
clue.
one's 9.49 acres, and
The other
this
one's
one
like-
is 5.7.
Okay, cool.
5.18 acres.
You're all good. I just wanna make sure you got the 50% adder, which those are just A and R lots,
Yes,
those aren't
yeah,
estates.
those aren't estate lots, those are.
You're
those are
fine, yep.
Over what they needed.
Yep, perfect. And I looked and the bylaw has 500 feet to where it breaks to the second property. That's only like 386 or 3 something to where it breaks into the other property. You can't go all the way up to the first house. It's gotta be broken to where it breaks from a driveway to a common driveway right there at the Y. And that's 386 if I did my math right.
So it meets the,
You're,
it meets the
yeah,
rules.
that's all I wanted to say is it meets.
Yeah.
Initially, when I looked at it, it was beyond the 500, cause I was going from the street side up to the, first house. I read the bylaw again, and I'm like, nope, the correct interpretation is where it breaks into the second property, which is at the Y, which knocks out about 180 or 190 feet, brings it back to 386, so that's fine. So I didn't have any issues with this common driveway, and since it's 2, it's by right. The only question I had for the board is a duplex considered 1 or 2?
It's considered the same as a one-family,
Okay.
yeah. According to the building code, a duplex is the same as a
Considered
single
as, it's not,
family.
okay.
Yes.
That was the only thing, cause with 4 there, I was like, that's above the 3 houses, if each duplex
Per
is
lot,
considered.
that's how that was read.
Yeah,
So,
so I'm good. I don't have anything else for the board.
anybody else?
You put another house off that driveway, or is this?
No,
Kind
no.
of what the end of the?
Unless they go back and go through another special permit for
Okay.
3, but
Yeah.
there's no room for it.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, cause there's so much land.
No, Keith, once the planning board approves this, it's for this plan.
Okay.
If there are any changes, he has to come back.
Yeah, of course you could come back, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, can that
With all
happen?
the other constraints, this is it.
That's it,
That's-
that's what you
he's
see
gonna
on this,
build those
okay.
You're gonna be hard pressed, Julian, to come back with the DCR and
There's
anything.
nowhere to fit.
Yeah.
I would've had it there now if we could've.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just a question. Obviously, it's gonna be labeled A and B or
Yep.
whatever it is at the front for the ambulance and fire and police.
Yeah.
And those are the signs that are required by the
Yeah,
bylaw
we're gonna
for
look there.
common
Okay,
driveway
yeah,
up in
they're
the
in the
upper
top
right.
corner, yeah, okay.
It's covered by a looper, but.
Yeah, at least part of it's up there.
Any comments from the public? Anybody?
Had two people on, Leah, I think Leah was on.
Is there anybody on Zoom wishes to comment? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And
So I will bring a decision forward for the planning board to endorse on the 25th.
yeah, we could give our approval now though, couldn't we?
You could?
I would prefer to
But,
see the
yeah,
written decision.
but,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'd wait until a decision because we wanna make sure that the conditions of approval are consistent with others.
Yeah, I'm fine with waiting that. We'll do it all on the same now on the 25th.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
this one's done.
I would
Check.
say we're done.
That's it.
There you go. I just have one question. Did the signatures of the board members go to the registry?
Not yet. Nope,
It hasn't happened yet.
nope, Dick's not
When's that
around.
happening?
I don't know, Dick's not around, he's in Florida. So he's one of the people who has to sign, so anyway, that's,
Yeah.
Well, that's an important thing, John.
yeah, I understand.
The plans can't be- nothing can be
Julian,
recorded.
again, not on the agenda tonight, so that's a,
This board had, anything you sign here is meaningless without it being able to be recorded. That's very important. This guy's being held up because of semantics.
and I know, and I
can't get
and I
into the
can't
registry.
do anything about it until Dick's back, because he's one of the people whose signature needs to be received. I can get the other members to sign it, but I can't get Dick right now, so.
Was that? I'm gonna ask, can we, I don't know how many people signed that document. Was all 5 of us?
Yeah, all 5.
No, that was,
Oh,
well,
oh.
that for the registry, but the
No,
one
no,
that.
no, no,
No, I'm talking about your document that,
Right, that was you guys, your name wasn't in it, you were expired in May, cause I went to registry and, I was like, sorry.
Technically, on a site plan review, it's a simple majority, so Dick doesn't even have to endorse this.
well, that was gonna be, I think Norm was thinking what I was thinking. Do we sign the 4 of us and then when Dick gets back, have him send it?
You don't
in?
have to. He doesn't have to sign this.
No, you
3
get
out of
the
5.
four.
So it doesn't affect this,
It's three,
Okay.
it's 3 of 5.
Okay,
so.
okay.
Yeah, cause the 2 members who have to update their signatures are Britton and Dick's not here.
So Britton could update his then.
I have no power.
Why,
Because,
No signatory.
cause when they took on their new terms, they have to update their signatures with the
that
registry.
wasn't done back in June?
No, it was not.
Oh,
I thought we,
well, we did.
yeah, so did I, but anyhow.
Apparently not.
Housekeeping.
Okay.
Alright, well, that's it, so I can tell him, we'll wait till Dickie comes back from Florida.
Which will be.
Or
first
if
part
he
of
wants,
No, that's not, that's not what we left with. We can sign it.
but Dick's name's on that plan, and they won't record it, cause he's not been cleared.
So, I mean, there's nothing.
I know they have the signature, it was just, the question that was asked me at the registry was, we need proof that these are the these are the members that are current.
Gotcha.
It wasn't actually the signature, it was whether they are.
Well, the town clerk should be able to tell them that. She's the one who
Well, that
does
may
the
be how we
elections.
can get that.
All right,
They
so-
have all your signatures, I saw the document.
Yeah.
All your signatures.
That's what I was thinking, I swore we signed this in July.
Oh, yeah, it was all there,
All right,
but
so then
it expired.
I don't know why I need to do anything. The clerk should be doing this.
Yeah, I
So I'm
think,
gonna have to follow up with her.
Yeah, I was gonna say, John, talk with Anita, cause
Yeah.
I think, Julian, that should be as simple, cause I remember signing the document like.
But now I don't know what the registry's gonna say, if they're gonna say, oh, now there's a new, they need a new say, I don't know if someone's signature.
Well,
changes.
Anita could send him a copy of what she had from last year when
Their
these guys took
question is,
over.
this person still on the board? And I said,
And she could
never
send a
at the
letter
meeting. I
saying,
wouldn't think they wouldn't be there if they weren't on the
Alright, so
board.
yeah, I'll follow.
with us, with having us sworn in, she could answer that question in an email to the,
For the registry, that's all it should have to
I think
be.
it's all be.
Alright, that works.
All right,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thanks.
See you guys.
All right, the next public hearing, the applicant has requested a continuance without testimony to the 25th
Okay.
at 6:30. So I need a motion to continue the public hearing without testimony to the 25th at 6:30.
Before we do that, do we wanna walk through this or do we wanna
No,
wait till the applicant?
no, we can't take new testimony. It's continued without testimony. No, so can't talk about it.
The applicants asked for that, correct?
Yes. So why wouldn't?
Does the planning board have to?
Well, because I don't wanna talk about the decision because we are still waiting for changes to the site plan.
Oh, okay,
It's just a draft, merely to capture
it's just a
waivers
draft.
requested.
okay, alright, good enough.
So, do I have a motion?
Motion to continue the hearing on, Howe's Country Market, 217 Barry Paxton Road, as presented in the orders of business. Item number 4.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
My discussion will be is why. They give you a reason why they wanna continue?
To get us the
don't have the plan.
revised site plans, they don't have the changes yet,
Yeah.
so.
Alright, I guess from a board member's perspective, I'm tired of this getting drug on. Now we're gonna be the end of February. I guess I'm just saying my frustration, that's all I'm saying here with the board.
I think Julian's their engineer, so it's
Okay,
something we're waiting on him.
alright, good enough.
We did send him with a, just to comment on that, we did send him with a list of things we wanted to see.
Yeah,
And that may or may not, I don't know, I'm just guessing, may or may not be in his control,
okay.
given
I just,
the
again,
workload
I
of the
just,
engineer.
it's a
But I'm with
frustrating.
you, but I'm with you.
Yeah, cause we've had people here and they're frustrated.
6 months,
Yeah,
over 6 months, yeah.
alright, good enough, I'm done. Questions?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And, let's see. Next item, town planners report.
Yes, I would like to open up, this is posted as a joint meeting between the planning board and the bylaw subcommittee. So if you would like to.
I'll open up the bylaw subcommittee's, meeting on 7/23 on February 11th.
So, this is just to keep this moving forward, but I posted a continuation of the public hearing for the amendments to the accessory dwelling units, so this can keep open.
Yep.
So I don't know if we need to open that public hearing. Would we like to keep it open and, vote to open and continue it without testimony to the next bylaw subcommittee?
That's what I was thinking of doing, John, and so I guess I'll take a motion to open the hearing for the, accessory dwelling units bylaw update, since we already have the bylaw, this would be an update to the bylaw.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, I'll ask for any discussion. I'll take a vote.
Aye.
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 4-0, aye, so we're gonna open it, John, and,
So,
then I
I
need a
would like
motion
to,
to continue.
now, how are we gonna continue this? Is it gonna be, continue to be joint meetings of the two boards? Or do you wanna schedule a bylaw subcommittee meeting so we can have a date certain?
Let me think about this. Well, we need to have a bylaw subcommittee to get this solar, bylaw.
Which I still
filed.
haven't heard from Tom Corbett yet, so I gotta.
Yeah, okay. Cause I wanna get this, let me ask you, John, can we do like we did for the, amendment to the bylaw? And back out when we need to have the public hearing and all of that done?
Yes, yeah.
If you could do that, I'd appreciate it, and then we can come up with a date when we have to have the hearing, and then we've got the drop dead
So,
date here.
I'm a little confused as far as, what do you mean by back out?
We have a town meeting
Yes.
that we
No,
need
we're
to,
gonna keep this public hearing open until it's ready to be referred to the planning board. So that's my plan, is to keep this public hearing going and open to start considering, you know, I'm working on a draft of the accessory dwelling unit.
I'm sorry.
But keep this open.
Yeah, I was off I passed that up and was moving over to the solar, bylaw.
Yeah, but I'm still, I don't know why Tom Corbett has not responded to me.
That's what I was arguing, I wasn't arguing, I was saying that
Yeah.
I wanna find out, since we wanna put this before town meeting,
Yeah,
when is our drop dead Tom Corbin date to get us information?
I don't know.
So we can have a hearing?
We're not there yet, because
Okay.
the town meeting, because we still don't know when town meeting's going to be. It's usually early in May, but I'm hearing whispers that it may not be early May because of the budget situation and the information that needs to be getting, so right now.
I'm gonna
it's-
prepare
it's-
for the second week of May from the,
It's usually the first week in May, isn't it? Like is it the first week in May or second week in May?
I thought it was second, but don't quote me on that.
So anyway, so
We'll
we'll
just plan
plan
for
on
the
early May.
May, yes.
So no, we would usually hold a public hearing on that, probably in April.
Yeah.
You know, first meeting in April, you know, something like that, so.
Why don't we schedule another joint meeting, let's say the second meeting of the planning board in March?
Yeah,
For the bylaw subcommittee?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, let's do that,
which is the 25th as well, the meetings mirror each other in February and March, so it'll be the 25th.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And it'll be another joint meeting, okay. Excellent, thank you.
Or should we have it the first part, so if the bylaw subcommittee gets it, if Tom gets everything in, we can refer it, and then the second meeting of March, the planning board could take a look at it, and then we could run a hearing off of it for the 1st of April. I'd
All right, we
rather,
can do the 1st of March.
let's do the 1st of March, cause that way, Norm, we give Tom basically 4 weeks to get everything done, and to John. And then if it's not there, then we're gonna have to go off what we got,
Yeah.
alright?
Okay, so now we can, so can we have a motion to continue this public hearing to the meeting on March 11th, please?
Yes, do I hear a motion for that? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Alright, vote on continuance of the accessory dwelling hearing till March 11th.
Aye.
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 4-0, aye. It's been
Thank you.
moved.
So the other thing on the agenda is, and this is very simple, I had, you know, I think I've mentioned this before, that in order to be compliant and eligible for potential less expensive flood insurance from a federal source, that the town needs to have a text in a bylaw, and it's usually a zoning bylaw, with this language that's in your packet. Don't need to discuss it tonight, this is just, I had a Zoom meeting with Katie Pate, who came before us in December and gave a summary on this, to understand exactly the extent of what needs to go in our bylaws, and what you see before you is formatted to our bylaws, and it's exactly what needs to be included. I have some shaded areas that still, you know, need to be filled out. For instance, I actually put out a query on the planner's listserv as far as who is normally the administrator for this floodplain bylaw. And it varies somewhat, but in 7 or 8 out of 10 cases, it's usually the building commissioner who is the administrator for the floodplain bylaw. So, but I'm gonna discuss that with Austin in the near future as far as who is gonna be responsible for administering this.
It's easy enforcement, that makes so much sense to me, that'd be almost funny. He does any enforcement, correct, for us? So I would expect him to be the enforcer
Correct, yeah.
/ administrator for this floodplain
The
too.
enforcer?
Yeah, enforcer, sorry, my terminology.
I have a high level question on that.
Yeah.
John, just to help me understand, cause I've read through this, obviously it's extremely detailed. Is this a state requirement that this be added to the bylaws? Is this a pressure from a governmental agency and saying, hey, this would be a good idea?
No,
Or
it's
is
a
this-
requirement.
It's a requirement?
Because- yeah.
So it's state law?
Basically, it's a requirement from DCR that we accept, they have the maps, we have the panels, but unless we have this language in the bylaw, then that means the town is not eligible, it's not eligible in 2 instances. On a higher level, the town would not be eligible for reimbursement funding from FEMA should we have a flood event. if we don't have this language in our bylaws. This is all about eligibility. It doesn't change who's in, who's out. It doesn't change the mechanisms of who they work with and how they work with them. It's basically just eligibility. The second thing that this impacts is if the town does not have this language in the bylaws, then basically it opens up affected residents to a less expensive form of flood insurance, because otherwise they have to go get it privately, which is much more expensive. This allows them to be eligible for federal flood insurance, which is less expensive. And again, if there is a flood event, then, and we don't have this language in the bylaws, then the town as a whole, nobody in this town is eligible for reimbursement or funding after the fact, should there be a flood event.
And the other key to this, John, is the map, correct?
Well, yeah, we have the maps and the panels.
Yeah.
It's not subsidized, but in a way, they get cheaper insurance, because we've.
Yeah,
adopted
it
this
makes them
language.
eligible to get cheap, less expensive flood insurance through the government.
So I've built homes in these zones, especially on coastal dunes and things like that nature. So with this map and with this language, if I were a resident and I own a home and I bought the home and I didn't need flood insurance, and now this new map says I do,
No, it has
it
nothing,
retro?
it's nothing to do with that. This has nothing to do with whether or not you need flood insurance. It doesn't change any of that, because the maps will determine whether or not somebody needs
so
flood
the
insurance.
flood insurance rate map of which they quote for this particular law
Right.
is subject to a map.
Right,
So if you are now in a flood zone, a mortgage company is going to say, hey, we have this information, you now owe flood insurance.
but this language has nothing, it's connected to the panels, but it's separate from the panels, because the maps are what the maps are. If FEMA says you're in a flood zone, you're in a flood zone. It doesn't change that. Having this language simply creates eligibility. It doesn't, they're connected, but they're not connected. So this references the panels, but not having this language in the bylaws, it doesn't change who's in, who's out. That's basically done by FEMA, and that's what the maps represent. And believe me, I've heard criticism over the years as far as how FEMA does things, that, people say, how can I be in a flood zone? I've never gotten water in my yard in 30 years, but FEMA's telling me I'm in a flood zone now. But this language really, it's related, but it's not directly related to that.
So my question, and this may be way above everybody's pay grade, is if it's federal law, why is it a bylaw?
Because each community has to have this in their bylaws. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that,
If it's a
but
federal law, that's like saying, hey, we don't have in our bylaws that you can commit murder. It's not in our bylaws.
yeah, again, that's.
I don't
can't
understand,
answer that.
I guess I'm really lost on the point of this, but maybe I just don't, I have a misunderstanding, so.
Honestly, this is the first town I've worked in that doesn't have this language in their bylaws. I've never had to deal with this. Normally, in the towns I've been in, they have this language already somewhere, either a general bylaw or a zoning bylaw, and when FEMA updates the panels, you just update the dates, and that's all you need to do. So
I guess I don't understand why a federal law needs to be a bylaw if it's a requirement for a federal agency. Seems a little bit like, okay, if you're telling me it's required, well, it's already exists, it's federal law. So why would we have a bylaw that seconds a federal law? It
I
doesn't-
can ask you that.
Yeah, I don't know, I just, maybe I have a misunderstanding on this, so that's all.
Let me throw that out to her tomorrow.
There's, at least as far as state laws I know, there are definitely several of the state laws that the town actually has to adopt as well.
Yeah. But we also had to go
as a
through that
bylaw,
when
though?
we,
Yeah, as a bylaw.
yeah, because at one point, we couldn't issue fines because our bylaws didn't allow it, even though the state had fines available. We didn't have any bylaw saying that, you could. So and this was about 5 or 6 years ago, remember that?
Maybe it has something to do with the fact that we're still a home rule state. Maybe that.
So do we have in our current bylaws, federal laws cited?
I'd have to.
I know we have state,
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to think.
This is
think
above
of a
state, so that's why I asked.
instance that I remember that we had to adopt.
I just get a little bit like, hey, this has to be in there, okay, why? And everybody says, well, that's just commonplace, everybody has it.
Yeah.
Okay, why?
Doesn't answer everything.
Yeah.
Just a-
Sorry, I hate to be that
Or the
guy, I'm
big
sorry.
statement, yeah.
I'll move on.
Well, you'd think it wouldn't be it would just be a governmental thing where
Right.
the town administrator works to get your funds through the town.
It's nice to meet you, gentlemen.
Nice to meet you.
All right,
All right, take care.
Alex, good meeting
Well,
you.
I gotta go. Put it down. Careful of that flu that's out there.
So yeah, so I'll send Katie an email tomorrow asking her that question.
Cause I did ask her, I think, in the last public hearing where we reviewed this, and she said it's not actually a requirement in that hearing, so that's why I continue to ask the same question.
Is it really based on 500?
Well, no,
year
it's basically,
floods?
they're not gonna come in and shut you down,
Yeah.
but if you don't have this language in your bylaws, then
FEMA can
not
tell you to go
eligible.
pound sand.
Exactly, that's what it
That's the
is,
key
yeah.
component.
So no, it's not a requirement, they're not gonna figuratively hold a gun to your head and say, that's it, we're gonna come in and we're gonna shut you down if you don't do this.
They're probably
But,
gonna tell you to pound sand anyways, even if you have language in here.
I don't know.
Well, it's like
Again,
a
yeah.
turnkey sort of document, but it makes you feel like.
I'm worried
there's
about the
other things
impact on
going
residents that aren't currently in a flood zone, and this is forcing their hand. That's
No,
my
again,
biggest
hear you.
but
concern.
again, it's, if you're not in a flood zone, then this doesn't impact you.
Well, if I wasn't in a flood zone 4 years ago.
No,
I
Britton, I think you're confusing the two. This language has nothing to do with whether you're in or out of flood zone. For people in the flood zone in the town in general, if the language is not in the bylaws, then they're not eligible for certain things. They're not eligible, the town's not eligible for reimbursement from FEMA if there's a flood event. And residents in the flood zone, not out of the flood zone, residents who are in the flood zone pursuant to the maps, which again, the maps are the maps. This language does not change the maps, it simply references the maps. Basically, if you're in the flood zone and you want to get flood insurance, you basically have to go private, and it's very expensive. This allows them to be eligible for less expensive insurance through FEMA. That's what it is. So it doesn't, this is nothing to do with who's in, who's out. That's a totally separate process.
Well, but how mortgage companies work is if you expand the map and now you put this language in there, and then they're required to now have flood insurance where they didn't.
But again,
If it was damaged by flood and they didn't have it, like I understand that, that's a risk that you take. What I'm
Right.
saying is this feels very,
but the maps.
Very
the town-
interestingly
But the
forced.
town already accepted the maps back in 1984.
But haven't those changed?
we're saying that
Yes,
they're
and
updated.
they do change. Yes, they do change, and then you update the dates. But the town's already accepted the maps way back when, and basically they get updated periodically.
I'd like to have some feedback from those affected from this language.
Well, what do you mean those affected?
Like just, I know it's a public hearing, but I would love for anybody who ever watches tape to come in and just speak to the new maps if they.
Yeah, we haven't seen them yet to
Well,
the panels at least, but not that it
Okay.
matters, yeah.
I just don't, again, I'm struggling, to use Tim's words, I'm struggling because this language has nothing to, it doesn't dictate who's in and who's out. This is just language that references the maps. The issue that you're having is up above, how they determine who's in and who's out, and this language really doesn't, whether or not you approve this language, it's not gonna change who's in a flood zone and who's not. That's my point, is it doesn't affect that at all. So the issue you're having, the issue a lot of people have, is with the mechanism of how they determine who's in and who's out. And that's a totally separate process.
And the maps are automatically updated, am I correct?
Yes, they're automatically updated.
Okay. That's Britton, the struggle I'm having is that if the maps are updated, all we're basically doing is referencing the maps that are already updated that the mortgage companies and FEMA would use. I think what we're saying in this bylaw is now we're gonna basically say FEMA, we are using those
Well,
maps.
Unfortunately, what I've had to tell people in the past, like when I was in Wareham, which is a seaside community, I'd get people coming to me saying, I'm objecting to the fact that I'm in a flood zone, I don't think I should be. I don't have any control over that.
Yeah, that's a FEMA.
Unfortunately, it's on their dime, unfortunately, and this is not right, I'm not agreeing with it, but if you want to challenge whether or not you should be in the flood zone, you have to basically get your own delineation, you have to get your own engineer and surveyor to go out there and spend the money,
Get a floodplain certificate.
and then send it to the feds, and then you have to fight it. So that's basically that process. And I'm not saying it's right, but that's basically.
I don't mean to drag the conversation on for too much longer, but there's comments on construction and whether you can be in the definitions, does that make it more difficult to
What do you mean?
do construction if you're closer to
No,
Floodplain or
no,
anything?
it just may change the type of construction you have to do.
Okay,
For instance, if you go down south,
yeah,
houses next to the Mississippi River are up on
Stilts.
they're up on stilts,
okay.
things like that.
There's no basements down south.
Correct.
I just wasn't sure, there's a lot of like, if this happens, and,
Yeah.
you know.
That was my tough part, Keith, when I was looking to move to Florida. They don't have basements down there because the water table's so damn high.
They bury their dead 3 feet above ground.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
John, this other thing that you had, I think when I did
Yeah,
the
so that,
budget.
hold on, we have to go back into the regular planning board meeting, cause
Oh.
that's on.
Finish
Hold on, is that on, that is, okay, never mind.
It's conversation.
Yeah, so anyway, so let's wrap up the bylaw subcommittee and go back to the planning board
Yep,
for that, because that's under my, I was gonna mention, that's under correspondence under the regular
Okay.
planning board, so. That's all I have for the bylaw subcommittee, if everyone's all set, I will send.
we just have
Katie
two
an email.
things. The third thing I was gonna ask is, where do we wanna go with Palmagussit? Put it on a holding pattern, you know, the industrial complex? Cause
Well, we're not gonna do a site walk until spring.
that's what I was gonna say, well, let's put it on a hold until after
Yeah, I
the
think
town
we've got
meeting.
enough to deal with.
Yeah,
At least April.
yeah, okay. All right, that's all I had just to put in the minutes to make sure that, we did talk about it, cause I know it's been on our thing, but we've sort of been in a holding pattern. Good enough. So I will take if there's nothing else with the bylaw subcommittee, I will take a motion to close and go, let the planning board resume.
So move.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
Any discussion? Well, let's take a vote.
Aye.
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 4-0. Subcommittee's closed. Norm, the show's back to you.
So, under correspondence, we have a couple emails, but then we have the CMRPC FY 2026 adopted assessment, which is in your packet.
And John, that 28,
It's 29,388.
that should have been in the budget document, that Excel that I sent you, cause Janet had sent me this.
Actually, you gave me 3250.
Where the hell did I get that?
I don't know,
number from?
so I made that comment to Austin, that it's
Well,
gonna
it's
be.
better
down
to
a
be
little.
high than low.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yep, so it's a little bit lower than you thought, Tim.
Are these fees for CMRPC?
Yes, the
Okay,
assessment, yeah.
Yeah, we pay that every year.
yeah,
Comes out of the budget. It used to come out of our revolving fund, but we since moved it to a budget item. Since it was benefiting the town, and those
yeah.
hours, Keith, are being used by not just us, but maybe by the select board or somebody else that might need those hours for something, so.
Doesn't
That's
seem like much money for what they, the
No,
amount of
no.
work they do. Yeah.
Braintree, $322. That's a bargain.
That's
Yeah, well,
East Brookfield, $700.
they only get 10 building permits their year, so I can't see them doing a lot of work
Yeah.
out there.
So,
Okay.
under planners report, Norm, I was just gonna mention the, agenda for the 25th. We have the continued public hearing for House Country Store, obviously. We have, the decision for 377 East County Road, and we're gonna have the special permit public hearing for the Emerald and Welch estate lots.
The remaining, correct?
What's that?
We already signed off on
Couple A&Rs that were there.
That was the A&R, this is the other 5 lots for
State
the
other
estate lots, yeah.
non-conforming
Yes.
lots, correct?
No, just estate lots,
Okay.
cause they conform to the estate standards, not the conventional standards, yeah.
That's public hearing, got it.
And we checked. That was something I was gonna bring up to the board. Since they're proposed as residentials, the way the bylaw reads for, duplexes is, John verified, it's not, there's no frontage extra requirement.
No.
But there is a 50% of lot. So if they do duplexes there, wouldn't that require them to have 7.5
do.
acres?
They do.
All the lots have 7.5 acres.
I just wanna bring it up to the
Yep.
board, that was the only thing,
Yep.
because I did my research and I always thought it was 1.5 times for the frontage, but I was wrong. It's
Yeah,
just
we
the
had
area.
looked at that.
Yep.
Norm and I had looked at that.
That's all I had.
What's that? Trash.
Anything else? A motion,
See if there's any public before we do that, if there's any public comment.
any public comment? Oh, hearing nothing, no hands up.
Wait, sorry guys, it's Leah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of the special act for recall of elected officials. I believe we, select board had asked to have feedback from the elected,
Uh-oh.
boards and individuals by the end of February, so we can, send comments and stuff off to legal and everything. So I just wanted to follow up and make sure that it was on planning board's radar as an elected board.
Somebody, Leah, this is Tim, have you guys sent out your draft copy?
I believe, Tamika has sent it out to the electeds. I'm not 100% sure. I'll double check.
So
Tamika's
I
on.
can confirm, yeah, so on January 22nd, I emailed every individual elected official and board member with the draft as well as the questions that the select board had come up with, and the changes that they made. And the email, noted that they were looking for feedback by, February 28th. So that has gone out to everybody.
Alright, I'm just checking, cause not saying,
I remember seeing that.
okay.
It was January 22nd, if you want to look back in your inbox.
That's what I'm doing right
Yeah.
now.
Yep, so it went to every individual member as well as all of the staff that work for those boards.
Got it, right.
And so far, I've only heard back from Board of Health.
I mean, it was a very vague title. It says Special Act to Recall Elected Officials. So,
Yeah.
I'm teasing.
Do we wanna put that as an agenda item for our next meeting, just
Yeah.
discussion?
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
We could. You just wanna be here till midnight, don't you?
Yep.
No, we can put that on the next agenda.
8 o'clock is my witching hour.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We better bring the gavel then.
So if we get any comments, we could send it after that meeting back to,
We have the public
Leah.
hearing on the estate lots for Welch and Emerald. So,
I don't see that. I mean, to me,
no, I mean,
that's a-
honestly, I've gotten nothing but positive feedback on this new design with the
Yeah.
estate lots.
It's 7 houses opposed to 22. That's a hell of a reduction.
Yeah, 14 units, 7 structures, so it's much better than what was proposed, and no roadway at all,
Yeah.
so.
You realize we approve those, how many estate lots will be available? All of Hilltop Estates
Yeah,
and these two.
yeah.
Hilltop is,
I remember at my first town meeting after I started here, there was a discussion about estate lots, and someone said, this is not a big deal because, we really don't get that many estate lots. It's like, are you kidding me?
yeah,
We have a lot of these.
we're gonna have over a dozen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
In 1 year, or, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice, nice open space, plenty of stuff, plenty of room and acreage.
Well,
I'll make a motion to close the planning board and go home.
Second.
any discussion?
Nice.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
So, Norm said.